2 has entered the podcast.
Welcome back, people, to Player 2 has entered the podcast. That podcast with two friends who are gamers, who catch up every week and talk about games and game news. But not before we talk about a bunch of unrelated gaming stuff. I am your co-host, Michael, a.k.a. MC Paper Stacks, and with me, as always, is my co-host with the co-most shuffling around out there.
Oh yeah, Derrick Merkerson, a.k.a. Full Metal Merc. And we're back for another week. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be great. You're going to want to tune in for the whole thing.
I think so. And actually, it's going to get better and better because we're on the cusp of June, and June is going to be bananas.
June is packed as shit, baby.
I'm talking news and releases. Like, it's just going to be, it's going to be the best time ever for a gamer, I got to tell you. Like, I love every year. Like, I don't particularly like E3 in and of itself, but I like all the news that comes out and the excitement and... Man, there's stuff bubbling under the surface. There's rumors and shit. It's all coming together. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm going to explode.
Oh, man.
Oh,
hold on a second. Jeans. I got to text somebody to bring me some new pants. All right. So
my laptop.
No, not the new laptop. So, I wanted to bring up a couple of things before we get into current events for this week. So we got some feedback on our guest last week. Big Nkrumah, people are feeling his voice. Yeah. I've got more than one person that's reached out to me and said, Jordan has a really nice podcasting voice. And you know what? I have to agree. It is nice. So,
yeah, I agree.
Kudos, sir. For
Congratulations.
A good podcast voice. You go. And also, I really enjoyed having him on. You know, he recommended Shrill last week, and then you talked about the Upshaws. I actually watched both shows. Not the whole thing of either, but I watched the first couple episodes of each. And I'll talk about Shrill first. I really like Shrill a lot. The first 20 minutes of the first episode is just people shitting on A.D. Bryant, which I didn't enjoy. But then it had like an uplifting ending, and it's written well, and it's funny, and she does a really good job acting in it. And I think that Nkrumah did, I think Nick did like a good synopsis of it last week as far as like what you can expect. So yeah, A.D. Bryant definitely goes through kind of, I mean, there's people that are calling her fat to her face, but not really. And like there's a lot of microaggressions that happen. And some of them were kind of familiar. And then I watched the Upshaws, and I just hate sitcoms, man.
Yeah.
And the thing that pissed me off about it is I think there's a good story there. Mike Epps having his main family and then like that split when he was younger, so he ended up having a kid outside of his marriage, and so he's having to reconcile that. He's kind of a shitty dad. I'm sure it's something, I hope it's something that they will address at one point, because it seems like they're telegraphing that, not in the first episode though, but he just, the way that they're framing it with the laugh track and it being lighthearted but covering such serious, sensitive material, I don't know, it just doesn't feel congruent to me. I mean, I guess it depends on what you feel about that type of situation and whether or not you can kind of laugh it off. But I was just like, man, I wish there was a different format so I could stop getting taken out of it every time somebody says something that really isn't that funny but gets a laugh track. So I did laugh a couple times, though. I was going to say, well, there's stuff like when the little girl says something cute and people laugh, and then he's like, that's smart. Yeah. And then she goes, thank you. And they go, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, no, thank you wasn't funny. She just said thank you. It's not funny. Right. But there was other stuff, like his friend got out of jail and he was promised him a job at the mechanic shop, and then his friend looked over at his, I guess it's his sister-in-law? Right? Wanda Sykes? Yeah. And he's like, hey, girl. And he started flirting with Wanda Sykes a little bit. And Mike Epps is like, damn, jail just takes everything from you.
Right.
I thought that was funny. So, I mean, yeah, I could see why you like it. And I see why, because Kristen actually watched the whole thing and she really enjoyed it. And I don't know if I'll finish it or not, because I'm like forcing myself to get past the whole sitcom part. I think I just might be done with sitcoms. I mean, I really enjoyed WandaVision, but that's because they were kind of taking the piss out of sitcoms a little bit. You know what I mean? Right. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, I said I would give my Whitman opinion on it, and I have. So there we go. I'm nothing if not a man of my word.
I was going to say, I mean, maybe it's because we're black. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. We can relate to that situation so very well because I don't know. Not to say that white people don't have situations like that too, but it's more
I was gonna say my home life was
it's
pretty fucked up.
It's more prominently portrayed in the media as black people having to go through that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only difference between me and Mike Epps' kids is I haven't met my half brother yet, but I know who he is. And I know he exists. So there's that. And my father was even worse than Mike Epps. I mean, he left when I was 5, and I don't really care. We're getting very, very, very personal on the podcast.
Deep. But we can move on if you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So now that we're past that, there's one thing I was curious about, and that's pretty much how was your week going, Derrick? Did you have a good week, sir?
My week was very eventful.
Eventful.
It was spectacular.
Okay.
A very amazing thing happened this week, and it's not something that happens every week, but it's something that I've been wanting to happen for so long. Me and my wife had sex.
Yeah.
Right, I lost my virginity. But really, what happened is that I got a PS5.
Hey, PS5 gang.
PlayStation 5 up in this bitch. I got one. I got
PS5
one.
gang.
I got one. Man, I can't tell you how excited I was, how happy I continue to be throughout this week. So basically, here's the story. I wake up, it's Sunday.
All right, set the scene.
I hop on my phone on Facebook because that's what you do when you wake up on a Sunday. And I scroll and it says Disc Replay Avon. We got a PS5 in stock.
Oh.
And I see that it's been up for an hour.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh. No, it's probably not there. So I call them. I say, hey, you guys still got that PS5? Oh my God, still got the PS5? They're like, yeah, it's still here. I was like, okay, I'm coming.
And then now I'm actually going to the store.
Right,
Afterwards.
exactly. I looked at Vicky. I said, babe, they have a PS5. I gotta go. She's like, okay, go. Well, actually, why don't you just call your mom or somebody that lives close to go and get it for you? And I was like, great idea. I call my mom because my mom lives like 5 minutes away from that Disc Replay.
Okay.
I call it, and it's like 10 in the morning, and she's 54. So
I was gonna say, does she have to get up and go?
Wait,
because
54, 55?
if I don't care if my mother-in-law lived like a minute away, if she lived above the store, I would still get there before her because she ain't got no get up and go. Nobody in my wife's family does.
Right. Well, thankfully, I called her and she was like, I'm just cleaning up, son. What's going on? I was like, Mom, there's a PS5 at this replay down the street from your house. Can you please go get it? Or go.
Mommy, give me my PS5, Mommy.
Exactly. I said, I will pay you as soon as I get it, or as soon as you get it, whatever. She's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. She's like, oh my God, you know how mom, how moms can be. And so I still get in my car and I rush over there,
of course.
I'm like, I don't know if she's got get up and go or not. I don't know
if
she's got it, and if she don't, then I'm gonna be shitty. So I get there, I walk in and I see her. I was like, Mom, got my arms out, yeah. And she's like, do I get some of the profits? And I'm like,
I ain't selling this.
Yeah, I said, you're making me look bad in front of the Disc Replay guys. It's like, no, this is mine. It's going with me. You know what I'm saying? It is nothing. So I'm like, oh my God, okay, guys, I want to look around for some games. Can y'all hold it for me? They're like, yeah. They're like real excited for me. They're like, of course. Yes, take your time.
Aw.
And
because they know they're making somebody's dream come true.
Right. And my mom leaves, and I tell her, I say in front of everyone in the store, this is the greatest thing you've ever done for me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she hits me, because out of all the things in 31 years.
Yeah.
But 5 minutes later, somebody walks in and asks if they still have the PS5. And they're like, no, it just sold. I'm like, oh, my God.
Did you look up and do one of those fist bumps over your heart, like, thanks, guys?
Yep. It's like, that's me, baby.
That's me.
So I got it. It's a big boy.
And you ended up paying less than MSRP for it. Like, they actually sold it to you at a used price.
Right. They sold it to me for $450. And, of course, I got the 6-month warranty because I didn't buy it direct from a retailer. And that was $50. So I still ended up paying retail minus tax. So
yeah, but that's still lovely.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and like, I didn't get the box with it or anything, but I don't care. I don't care. The box is too big anyway. It's too damn big. The system's too big and the box is too big.
Yeah, it's bigger than my TV box. It's so big. That's not actually true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
Right. So now I've got a PS5 and I've been enjoying all of the wonders that brings, and I'm excited to tell you guys about them.
Well, I imagine you've probably been playing a ton of games this week, Derrick. Would I be correct in that assumption?
You would. It's great because I got it a bit later than, the release date. So there was actually more stuff for me to get my hands into.
I was like, yeah, you got shit to catch up on.
Yeah. So, of course, I started off with Spider-Man Miles Morales. And my God.
Oh, yeah.
I beat that game in 2 nights, and it was beautiful.
Are you just dripping with the exaggerated swagger of a black
Oh,
teen?
my God. I was playing, I was like, the swagger! It's so exaggerated. And it was, but it was amazing.
Yeah, how about those animations, though? Doesn't it just...
Oh, my God.
Aren't they just more smooth? Like, I feel like... I know that you play the original Spider-Man, then you play Miles Morales. And obviously, there's going to be some iteration because it came out after. But
Right.
I just feel like, as good as the web swinging was in the original Spider-Man, they just nailed it in Miles. Like, the trick system and everything was just, yeah.
Of course. And the story was a lot more personal, I guess.
Yeah.
Because there's not a bunch of supervillains running around.
It was smaller in scope, but it did feel more personal. I liked it.
Yeah, it was great. And we'll probably be doing a spoiler cast on that here soon, so look out for that.
Yay! Spoiler cast from Miles Morales.
Yeah. Just great. Great game. I got a lot of games to get through, so I'm going to...
Okay, fair enough. Go.
Yeah. So, Spider-Man Remastered. Amazing. I beat it when it came out, 3 days. It looks... I don't know how you could make that game look better than it did, but you did. So, great job, Insomniac.
Did you play on performance mode or graphics mode?
Of course.
Nice.
Here's my thing. Graphics don't do anything for me if it's not smooth.
Yeah.
And it being at 60 frames per second at 4K is just... That's amazing. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous, man.
I don't need all the extra ray tracing and all that. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
my reflection. Ooh, ray tracing.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. As long as Spider-Man is moving smooth when he's swinging through the city, that's all that matters to me.
Okay.
Let's see. Next game. DMC 5. Devil May Cry. Special Edition. Another instance of a game that was already amazing that I've already beaten that they somehow managed to make better. I have not played as Virgil yet.
Oh, okay.
Right. I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to play through the game as originally intended just so I can see all the cutscenes and everything.
Okay.
In their updated fashion. Then I'm
Okay.
going to go through and play as Virgil. Looks great. It's amazing. Very responsive. If you haven't played Devil May Cry 5, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
you haven't
funny
played Devil May
because
Cry at all.
I've played it, but I only play the Virgil parts.
Oh, you only play the Virgil
I mean,
parts?
I borrowed the original game from you and played that, of course.
Oh, yeah,
but I mean,
that's
when
right.
I got the special edition and went to play it again, I was like, I'm gonna play the Virgil part first. And you're right, it does like skip a lot of cutscenes and stuff, and kind of just drops you in. So, good choice.
Yep. Astro's Playroom, the free game that comes on every PS5. So innovative.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, I was playing it and I was like, Xbox could never.
Yeah, it kind
Like,
of felt
they
like
could,
a Nintendo
but,
game,
yeah.
you know? Like,
yeah, it was...
because Nintendo kind of has the market cornered when it comes to platformers and, you know, just colorful, innovative, fun video games, right? And that's what Astro's Playroom feels like. What was your favorite part?
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, Rick.
Come on, Morty, you gotta
Getting
tell,
the
gotta
art-
tell,
get-
gotta tell the
right.
listeners
You
what
gotta-
your
you
favorite
gotta
part
tell
was.
them.
Come on, you gotta tell them. Come on, Morty.
I'm going to say getting all the artifacts. It was pretty cool. No, getting all the artifacts is really cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, even like stuff that didn't release in the US, like the Pocketstation and like the PSP camera and like little weird stuff that I didn't even know existed.
I wanted one of those so bad. Can I tell you a side story about the Pocketstation?
Of course.
Okay, so for those who don't know, the Pocketstation was this little video game peripheral you could get for your PS1, but it was only sold in Japan. And the reason why I wanted one is because Final Fantasy VIII had items that were exclusively locked behind linking your game to a Pocketstation and playing a Chocobo minigame. And I really wanted those items because it was linked to the card game and it was linked to like some special items. And I was like, I want these so bad. And it was my senior year in high school. My AP English teacher was planning a trip for people to go to Japan, but it was only for people who were juniors. So it was only for people who were juniors. and I was a senior, and I couldn't do it. So what I did instead is I got in my AP English teacher's ear, because my girlfriend at the time was a junior. I convinced her to include my girlfriend in the trip. I was like, this girl get good grades. She's a smart chick. You really want her to come along. She's your girl for this Japan trip. And she got chosen. And I was like, yes!
She got chose.
So I was like, babe, you go to Japan, you gotta get me a Pocketstation, blah, 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 right? And again, this was back before, like, I mean, the internet was there, but it wasn't as useful as it is now, because people are just like, why don't you just go on PlayAsia and import one? It wasn't that simple, trust me.
Right.
I have to convert to yen and arrange ship. It just didn't happen back then. So right before she left for Japan, guess what happened?
I don't know.
We broke up.
Oh yeah, I guess I was gonna guess that. I was gonna say she left you for some Japanese dude and stayed in Japan.
No, she left me for an American dude because we broke up before she went to Japan.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, no, we broke up and it just didn't happen for me. She did, however, get a gift for her new boyfriend, so that felt good.
Right, and it was a Pocketstation.
No, it was like a hat because he was like a bro sports. I'm. Now she makes cakes for a living. Good job, ex-girlfriend.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So
that's the side story. Oh, shout out her name.
Yeah, no.
High school girlfriend.
High school girlfriend. Listen.
Congratulations on making the cakes.
Right. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Astro's Playroom. I can't believe they made this for free.
It's so good.
Like this is a game. This is a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have easily had people pay for that. But moving on, Godfall, another PS5 exclusive. Meh. Very heavy on the meh. The controls are not very tight. You know,
I wish you would have asked me before you bought it, because I could have told you that.
Well, and I knew it.
You just wanted more games for your PS5.
Yeah, I'm in that new console honeymoon phase where
Fair
I
enough.
know it's trash, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to hate it properly.
Fair enough.
Played Thumper, which was on the list of play-at-home games for PS4 last month, or a couple of months ago. Months ago. And as you said it in the show notes, it's a rhythm music horror game.
It's a rhythm horror game. Yep.
Yeah, it's wild.
It might be Gamer Friends approved. I feel like they would be okay playing it because it's not like super scary, but it definitely gives you this uneasy vibe between the music and the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
did you like
those
it though?
slide turns. Yeah, I love it. But hitting those slide turns,
Did you know there's a PlayStation VR version?
No.
Could you imagine playing that in VR?
I could not. But I've got
crazy.
I sold 2 of my VR, so now I got 4 in the house. So I could hook it up and see.
Yeah.
But
I
don't think I will.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Next game, The Witness, which is that puzzle game that came out. How long ago did that come out? 4 years ago?
A couple years. I played it on Xbox Live Gold. I got it for gold, so
okay.
I played it for a bit.
I got through the first 10 puzzles really easily, and then it just was like, fuck you.
And then the difficulty went to the moon.
Yes, it did. It was wild, man. I want to get through it, but honestly, I'm probably going to do the sad gamer thing and look up the answers to the puzzles.
Oh,
just to see what's at the end. But it's tough, man. I got to a Tetris puzzle and I was like, what am I supposed to do here?
You're supposed to hum the Tetris theme while you spin the Tetrinos.
I guess. But yeah, I might pick it up again. I might not. Next game I played was Res Infinite, another game on that list of play-at-home free games. And I played the first level, and it was okay.
Yeah, Res Infinite, is that a rhythm game as well?
Kinda. You play as this, you're in cyberspace, and you're a cyber human.
You're the lawnmower man.
Yeah, and you're just shooting down things coming at you, kind of like Tempest or, Asteroids or any of that older game stuff. But
okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm probably not gonna pick it up again, but it was free, so hey,
Yeah.
And yeah, so the next game I played was Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, and I've talked about it on the show before, but this time I actually went deep into it. So I went all the way to the end of the game. You know how when you're in the gummy ship and you can go to the different levels in the other Kingdom Hearts games? You can do that in this game too. And I went all the way to the end, and I was like, God damn, there's so many levels. And I was like, oh, this is a game. So it was a bit overwhelming.
Okay.
Not going to lie. So
at least you're not hurting for content, I guess.
Yeah, it's just going to be something that I put on and take my time. Like, I want to hear some Kingdom Hearts music. Let me go through this. But yeah, there's a lot.
Wow.
So I'm scared, but I got to take that journey.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. Well, I'll get into what I've been playing then. I continue to play Diablo 3. I'm kind of obsessed with the game. I know I talked about it a little bit last week, but it's funny that I had 2 false starts with this game and now I can't get enough of it. I finished the game entirely. There are 5 acts in total. And when you finish the campaign mode, I don't know if I can access this because, it's the Ultimate Edition, so maybe I could have already accessed this ahead of time, but it includes any extra content that was added. There's another game mode called Adventure Mode, and when you start playing Adventure Mode, all the maps are open, Act 1 through Act 5, and one of the main characters, Tyrael, tells you about bounties. There's usually 5 per act, and it's just like, go straight to this area, fight this boss, or cleanse this cursed chest, or, do this side mission. And then you get extra experience and equipment. And if you do all 5 in an act, then you get like a Herodric chest, which is full of really rare schematics for the blacksmith and materials for like some new stuff that you can buy. So it's just like a way to, kind of fast track your leveling and development. And I leveled my wizard to the level cap, which is level 70. But after you get to the level cap, you get what are called Paragon points every time you level up after. And you level up really fast. Like, for instance, I'm a level 70 wizard, but I'm like level 125 Paragon. And they just give you a way to continue to, I guess, make your character stronger through 4 like sections of stats. So one of the sections you can choose between increasing your intelligence if you're a wizard, or strength if you're like a fighter, or your attack speed. There's another one where you can pick between like movement speed and critical damage. Like they all have like their different resistances. So there's like 4 sections like that with 4 skills each you can pick. And usually by like 0.1% for critical chance or 5 points for a stat. So not a huge bump, but that's persistent across any new character you start. So I started a new character this week, the Monk, and he already had 125 Paragon levels. So I started him. There's like a dumb amount of difficulty modes. There's like normal, hard, master, extreme, like torment, and then torment 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to like 25. It's dumb. So I started him like almost, I think, just under torment. And he was still just melting HP bars. I was like, that's cool that I can just kind of... And then, of course, the higher you go in difficulty, the more experience bump you get. So he was leveling up super fast. So I'm getting him up to where my wizard is and not having to do a slow grind like I did with my wizard, which is cool because it allows you to experiment with other characters and you can share loot and certain equipment and certain things with, across your account rather than character by character. And that way you can experience other parts of the game but kind of fast track it if you want to. And I love that. I ran across a bunch of different types of treasure goblins in the higher difficulty levels. Some of them leave portals behind. So, my amiibo lets me go to the treasure vault portal. But I also found a portal to this place called Whimsydale. And it looks really cartoony, and there's smiling, dancing clouds and little teddy bears and unicorns that attack you, but then they explode in a bloody mess when you defeat them, and it's full of gemstones and treasure. It's insane. And there's another level called Not a Cow level, and it's literally just you being attacked by a bunch of cows with weapons. It's pretty fun. There's even like this cow boss who, right before an event, when you meet him, he's like, it seems like these cows may have some beef with you. And then you get attacked. It's funny. But yeah, between Venture Mode and Nephilim Rifts and seasonal challenges, there's all this extra stuff that you can do. And I was constantly learning about the game because one thing the game does not do well, and it doesn't hold it back too much, but I definitely had to consult the internet a lot. It doesn't really telegraph very well how you bring up your map or how you can recall back to town anytime you want through use of a portal that you inexplicably get access to after the first couple of missions, but you're not really told about it. So I went through most of the first game, like more than half of the first run through, I didn't know about I could bring up my map. And most of the game, I didn't even know that I could bring up a portal to portal back to the town anytime I wanted to. So that was fun when I learned that. Loot stays on the ground for a really long time, unlike the older games in this genre, so that's nice. So if you're full up, you can zip back to town, sell some shit, come back, and not have to worry about losing any high-level loot on the ground, which is really cool. And playing this game got me thinking, just because you only have 60 slots for loot. It doesn't do a weight system, but your encumbrance is if once you get 60 of any kind of item, then you can't pick up any more items. You have to go back, which is fine. But I wish that there was like an AI system for loot. You know how like there's an AI system in Final Fantasy 12 where you can set it to where, you know, conditions, if then, or like if you run against an enemy that's above level 65, you use this spell. Under, like if their health is at 10%, you do this. I wish that these types of games in the future would introduce a loot system where when you pick something up, if it's rarity X or lower, it's automatically disassembled into parts or automatically sold. Or if it's level X and above, it's automatically sent to this character or to this chest or equipped or whatever. And that way you could still manually sort through your loot, but a lot of the junk loot or a lot of the stuff that you're just going to sell for parts or for money would automatically be filtered through the AI that you set up, basically your own little gambit system. And that way it just takes out the monotony of having to sort through your loot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds dope.
Yeah, I don't know if a game is coming out with that yet. So if anybody's listening to this and they decide to put that in their game, TM. I want some of that cash. Also, I played more Final Fight Streetwise, and it was really cool. Final Fight, there was a fan of Brawlers who came in and started following me. His name is Smocrates. It's like a smoking Socrates. I love it. And he was dropping some rare beat-em-ups because he was a big fan too. And I was telling him how I always play beat-em-ups on Mondays and Warriors games. He goes, Musou games? And I'm like, yes, please. And he was like, have you played this or have you heard this? And I'm like, played that already. It's on the playlist. Planning on playing that. Definitely have this. And he was throwing out some pretty rare games. I thought he was like testing me. But then he finally named a game I never heard of. And he talked about Demon Chaos. It's a PS2 game that he says it's like Musou on steroids. I was like, how come I never heard of this game? And I looked it up, and of course it only came out in Japan and Europe. And I'm like, oh.
Of course.
Yeah. Super rare. And even if I were to find a copy that was affordable, I don't have a European PlayStation because it's region locked, right?
Damn, yeah.
It got me to thinking about a persistent problem I've been having lately in regards to that, in relation to that. So that's something I want to talk about later. But I did end up getting to try out Demon Chaos. And it is pretty fun. I'm eventually going to play it on an episode of Monday Night Brawl, so I don't want to get too into it. But look forward to that. So for people who are interested, it's kind of neat.
All right. Go.
I played a DS game this week called Retro Game Challenge. And it's kind of rare. If you want to find a cart in the wild, you usually have to pay at least $100. I've seen some places selling it between 30 and 50 loose. But they were kind of questionable, so I don't know if it'll actually go for that cheap or not. I have that Drastic emulator on my phone, so I've just been playing it on my phone. And I'm perfectly fine with emulating games if I can't buy it directly from the manufacturer. Like if Nintendo had an eShop version of this, I would so get it. It is such a good game. So let me explain the premise to you so you understand kind of how this game is set up. Right. There's this champion game player who is really good at retro games, but he finds the newer games tough, and he gets really upset. And he somehow finds a way to digitize himself and put him into like the game sphere. So like he's like the wizard in Wizard of Oz, but he's in video game land. And he grabs you from the real world and transports you back to the 80s to challenge you to achieve certain feats in older style games in order to get back to your own time. And what you're transported as a child into his childhood house, and you meet child him who has no idea what's going on. He's like, who are you? And he's like, I just got this new game. Do you want to try it out? And then the older version of him appears before both of you and goes, ha ha ha, you'll never escape unless you get to level 3 without taking damage, right? And the kid's like, oh my God, I can't believe older me is such a dick. I'll do what I can to help you out, right? And what's cool about it is they're not games that actually came out, but they imitate games that came out. So the first game you play is kind of like Galaga. You know, the enemies scroll across the top of the screen and you have to shoot them before they come down and get you. And he'll give you 4 or 5 challenges to do with that. And the cool thing is the kid also gets gaming magazines. So after the first challenge, he might give you something really difficult to do. And you could do it on your own, but if you go to the shelf and read the gaming magazine, it might give you a tip, like press start and enter a code, and you'll automatically get the ship power up without having to find it. Or another tip will say, here's how you can find a level warp in levels that start with prime numbers, and here's how to get it to show up. So it's like when you were a kid, like you literally crawl on the ground over to the shelf and grab the game and pop it in the system, or you walk over and you read the gaming magazine and they have reviews. They talk about upcoming games. There's an editor section. It feels like when you were younger and you were reading Game Informer. It's really cool.
I miss Game Informer.
Yeah, me too. And then after you finish that challenge, then he challenges you to another game. It's like a ninja game. And it kind of plays like an old Sega game, like Flickies, where if you go left, the screen loops and you have to either jump on the enemies or jump over them and get rid of all of them to clear a stage, like an arcade-style game. And then it goes to a racing game. And then a sequel to the ninja game that's more like Shinobi. And then an RPG. And they're all kind of... It's kind of like the WandaVision of video games. They're doing callbacks to all these 80s and 90s games, and you progress in years. It's a DS game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I would recommend looking it up, like getting a ROM of it if you can't find it or don't want to pay the price for it. But it's by Xseed, and it just hits me right in the nostalgia. And I really love, I already love NES Challenge or those games where they take bits of NES games and go, get to the star and without hitting 5 enemies or something silly, right? How those do. This is just like that, but its own thing, and it's really just a callback to when you were young and you were playing cartridge-based games and you were reading gaming magazines. And they capture the feel perfectly. In fact, the way they use the DS, the kids are on the bottom screen, and you can flip to them anytime in chat or reset the game. And on the top screen is the game you guys are actually playing while you're looking at the TV.
Okay.
It's
What's
really
the name
cool.
again?
It's called Retro Game Challenge.
Retro. I have to look it up real quick.
Yeah, man. It's neat. It really is.
Whoa. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, no, the only reason why I heard of it is Metal Jesus was talking about it a few years ago, and I ended up picking it up, and I played a little bit of it, but I got distracted because other stuff came out, and I only just recently came back around to it, but I love it. I really do.
Okay, cool. Something
It's a
to
great
look
game.
out for.
So, highly recommended. I played some more Returnal, still kicking my
your
ass. Yes. I get to the 5th biome, like last night. Tuesday was bad. Tuesday, I was on my 5th or 6th run in the first half hour. I just kept getting bodied. Thursday was better. In 2 hours, I did 3 runs. The third one was the longest, and I made it to the 5th biome. But the enemies there are just really tough. So without the right gun or setup, I don't stand a chance. So, and the worst part is I only play twice a week and for 2 hours each time. As soon as I get warmed up, the episode's over. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I may need to schedule a separate, like, extra streaming day, like on a Sunday, where I just play it for 8 hours straight in order to get in the groove and actually bang my head against the wall until I make some progress. I may do, if we get closer to Ratchet and Clank releasing and I still haven't beaten it, I may add an extra streaming day where I can just play it for an extended period of time and try my best to get to beat it. Because whether I beat it or not, as soon as Ratchet and Clank comes out, that's the new mainstream game. Like, I love Returnal, I'm having fun with it, but I gotta get to Ratchet and Clank. So, yeah, it's so crazy. A lot of people were talking about how hard it is for Jump, and I've talked to people who had a really hard time with the first 3 bosses. It's like I had such a smooth and easy time with the first half of the game, and the game recognized that it's kicking my teeth in on the back half to make up for, like, you got to the 4th biome with only X amount of deaths? No, that won't do. You need to die more. So
got to get some killing done.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't mention it before, but Final Fight Streetwise is getting pretty tough too. But I expected that. It's an older PS2 Capcom game, and they don't really pull any punches. No pun intended. But I can get past that. I beat it before. I know where the end is. I'm getting close. I can beat it again. No big deal. But Returnal, I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. I think I can. I think it's just going to take more effort, but how much more, you know?
Right.
So I don't know. And then I played Resident Evil Village for Friday Night Frights last week, and you actually popped in for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. I got all the way up to the castle. I met Lady D. And I actually even defeated one of her daughters. I think she has 3. One of them took him down. downtown, and I met the Duke in the castle, and Ethan was like indignant. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He's like, "Why are you in the castle?" And he's like, "Oh, I just want to sell stuff." What?
What are you buying?
What are you buying? Yeah, it's just he talks a little too much, so it does kind of not make sense why he's around and not A, not being attacked, and B, that he just has a special room in the castle where he can sell you shit.
Right.
Like before, if the merchant, he didn't say much, and he did just show up in places, so he did kind of feel like whatever, he's just there. But in this one, the Duke has more of a tangible presence in the world, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm playing some more of that tonight as of the time of recording. I will have already played it by the time people are listening to this, of course. And I can't wait. I had a lot of fun with it. I can't wait to see where the game is so campy. I met like the grouping of all the, like all the bad guys. Mm-hmm. The main, I can't remember her name. Her name is Mother something.
Miranda. Mother Miranda.
So everybody answers to her. There's that weird guy with the glasses. There's Lady D. There's a few other interesting characters that look like they're straight out of Never Dead. It is so silly, and I'm here for it. So I'm having a lot of fun. Also, I noticed something. A werewolf bites half of Ethan's hand off and leaves him with not 7, but 8 fingers. Resident Evil 8 Village. That's a thing. Noise. All right, the last game I played this week was a game that I played with my good friend Full Metal Merc, and it was It Takes Two, baby. It takes two, baby. It takes two.
It takes two.
Me and you. So
it takes two.
The one thing I like about this is you own the game. I don't. But I
Right.
was able to download a Friends patch on my PS5 that allowed me to play through as much of the game as I wanted with someone who owns the game. So we were able to shoot through, I don't know how far we got. It feels like halfway, maybe.
God. Yeah, honestly, I feel like more like 75%. Like
yeah, maybe 75%. We played it for like
a long time.
4
hours
or 4 hours, yeah. And man, is that a video game or what?
Man, it's fucking amazing.
That's a video game right there. It was
I don't know if
good.
Ron B's listening, if he hasn't gotten the game yet.
You need to. You need to.
It's
I will say this though.
It's perfect.
I don't know how good your son is at video games. This game isn't super hard, but it does take precise timing and precise teamwork. There were more than a couple of times where me or Derrick just slipped up and we had to restart a section. But luckily, whenever we messed up, we started over pretty close to where we messed up and we were able to go through it again. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like a huge deal.
It's very forgiving.
Yeah. Also, you're going to have plenty of chances to hand your son his ass because there are a lot of mini games where that pit the two characters against each other. And like fun stuff. Like there was one where it was like a tank shooting mini game, a la like We Play. There was another one where it was like whack-a-mole. You were the mole and I had the hammer and I was trying to whack you. There was a button mashing, which that's where I learned that you're like an insane person when it comes to mashing buttons. Holy crap, dude.
I am the best masher.
You certainly are. I'm impressed. I thought I was a good masher. I'm nothing compared. I'm garbage compared to you.
No one is anything to me when it comes to mashing.
But aside from that, it kept, with each new level, it kept introducing new mechanics, and they were all really solid and well implemented. As you're, if you don't know the premise, your two parents are about to get split up. Your daughter cries over dolls she made of you, and then you turn into the dolls. And she doesn't know. It's that voodoo. And so
devil magic.
A devil game. Here we are with the devil games again.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're trying to get back to her to get her to cry on you to change you back, basically. It's not just like Toy Story where the world is realistic aside from the fact that you're alive. Like, it's magical. There's this book that shows up and inexplicably is like, I'm going to get you two back together. And all the tools It's like Beauty and the Beast. All the tools and stuff start talking to you. Mm-hmm. You go into the treehouse and there's this whole interwoven network of like twists and turns. There's the squirrels versus the wasps. They all talk. There's a wasp robot boss. There's a vacuum boss. All this wacky stuff. And it's so fun. Yeah. It's so fun.
It doesn't get old. Like, I kept looking for a stopping point, and I couldn't find one because it just kept pulling us back in, pulling us in.
Nothing.
I was only going to play for like 2 hours, and like we said, play for like 4.
I mean, it's fluid. The platforming is perfect. It's intuitive. Nothing overstays its welcome. As soon as you get the handle on, one mechanic, they toss it out and bring in a new one. It's amazing. And the cool thing is, you really do kind of get a different experience depending on which character you play. So there's replayability in going back through the game as the other character. Yeah, definitely. Like, it seems like you're always relegated to driving and I'm always the shooter, right?
Yeah.
But if we were to switch characters, then I could do the driving and you could do the shooting. You know what I mean? Like, and there are other vehicles that we had to pilot together, and that was kind of wonky until we figured it out. Like the boat, where we both had to kind of spin the hamster wheels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So did you see the message I sent you about the special move that you did?
So there was the part where I was fighting a squirrel boss on top of a plane that you were piloting. By the way, the fight got so intense, Derrick forgot that he had to turn the plane and we crashed. But yeah, it was like Street Fighter style. I actually had to like do kicks and jumps to fight this squirrel, and then I did a special move that was straight out of Street Fighter. What was it?
It was Abel's ultra move from Street Fighter 4.
Nice.
Where he like throws him up to the air, jumps up, catches him,
spinning pile driver,
slams him on the ground. I was like, that's the exact same move. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So, and I didn't know this, but I learned this on an older episode of Gamer Friends. A Way Out had the same mechanic where only one person has to have the game. The other person can still play it with that person.
Yeah.
I love that they do that. I mean, co-op is so intricately woven into these games. I don't even know if you can play it without a co-op partner. Maybe that's part of why they do it. Yeah, they don't even have AI for it, which is fine. I think it's great. I think they're filling a need, and they're covering a not so narrow niche. A lot of people really enjoy games like this, and there's just not enough of them out there. So kudos to the developers of It Takes Two and A Way Out, to be honest. They offer some solid experiences.
Yeah, I actually bought it used, and now I'm feeling like maybe I should actually give them my money and buy like the actual PS5 version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm enjoying it so much, and it just makes sense. I don't know.
It's a gorgeous game, too. It's beautiful. The art style was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for inviting me to play that on Wednesday. That was great.
Oh, yeah, man. We're going to play it again. We're going to beat that baby.
Yeah, we're going to beat that bad boy. We'll let you know if anything new develops after we beat it. But high recommendation from both of us, I would agree. I would say, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, let's get into gaming news. Boop, 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 doop, doop, boop, boop. I will get music here eventually. Boop, 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 boop. So let's go ahead and read off a few. I got a few big stories I want to read off, and then we'll give people some. There's a lot of tidbits this week. A lot of release dates, announcements, and those are going to keep coming, especially in the month of June. But let's talk about what we do know. So first things first. There are rumors, pretty substantial ones, that a new game called Final Fantasy Origins is going to be announced soon, probably in June.
Ooh.
And people are saying it's like a Souls-like, and it's made by Team Ninja, which are the developers of Nioh. Now, that's all fine and good. But what I'm really hoping is that it's actually a Warriors-like, because if people recall, Team Ninja also made Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Hyrule Warriors, and Fire Emblem Warriors. And they have, I think they made Dissidia too, if I'm not mistaken. So they have the assets already. It probably wouldn't be that hard to make a Warriors game with those assets. I don't know if they'd want to or not. But assuming it is like a Souls-like Final Fantasy spin-off game with multiple difficulty levels, that was also confirmed in the rumor. Mm-hmm. Would you check it out?
Of course. I would check it out. Like, those games aren't really for me. I don't have the patience, but if you attach Final Fantasy to anything, you guarantee you can bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna try it out.
Yeah, I really, really, really hope it's a Warriors game though instead, but we'll see. I've been clamoring for Final Fantasy Warriors for so long, and with the recent success of Age of Calamity, and the rumor that we're probably gonna get a Three Houses Warriors game, which crossing my fingers, this would be perfect. I think it would be a perfect thing. So want it very badly. Now, speaking of another thing that people want really badly, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, had its own state of play present. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
He's so excited. It's got its
Keep
own.
talking.
I know, because you get to play it, Mr. PS5 owner, but it had its own state of play presentation this week, and they showed off some gameplay. I mean, I watched it, you watched it. We haven't really had a chance to talk about it offline. What do you think?
It looks great, man. It's more Horizon. The original game was easily a 9 to 10 out of 10. It looks like they added some new combat mechanics. There was one point in the trailer where she basically did like a super move. And like it zoomed in on her face, and it was like, oh shit, they give Aloy super moves? Super moves. Definitely buying it. Super moves.
Yeah, they did a good job with her main fight with like the giant elephant creature to show off all of her moves, and her mobility was with the little grappling was really cool, and like the floaty thing, like the hologram umbrella thing that she has that she can use, the hang glider that she can use to float. Yeah. And also she can swim underwater for an indeterminate amount of time because she has like a face mask. They didn't explain that before the demo, so when she went underwater and started talking, I'm like, how can she talk?
Right, exactly. I thought the exact same thing.
Because they didn't show her face, but then the guy was like, and you get the underwater mask so she can breathe. And I was like, oh, why didn't you show that, though?
Right.
Like they didn't give like a motion like she put it on, it just popped on. I was like, all right.
Right.
But yeah, it looks gorgeous. Here's the thing about Horizon Zero Dawn that's interesting to me. It was not on my radar. I was not planning to play the original game. I wasn't even excited about it. The only reason why I played Horizon Zero Dawn is because it came out at a time when nothing else was out. I had just finished the previous game. The new game was a few months out. It was just an in-between type game for me. And people said, oh, it's kind of fun. And I was already really burnt out on those Ubisoft style, do all the things in the map, climb the towers bullshit. Far Cry had basically ruined me for that. And it does that, but like a lot of people have said before, I will mirror this comment. It puts enough spin on bandit camps and climbing towers, and the combat in the world itself is interesting enough to where not only did I play all the way through it, but I platinumed it. Now, I'm not as in love with it as other people are. I'm not like super salivating for this next game. And again, if it's released amongst a bunch of other stuff, it's going to get bumped down the list. And they pretty much ruined it in this trailer. But the whole kind of twist at the end of the first game, when it was revealed, I was like, oh. Yeah. Meanwhile, a lot of my friends and other people I know that that really like games were like, whoa, that's cool. And I was like, yeah, all right, I guess. It's okay. All right. I wasn't like
Raptor in the next game or something.
Yeah. But the gameplay is solid. And they are really trying to push the performance and the graphics and the art in this game, and that's cool. We could use more games like this. And something I definitely eventually will pick up and play through, and I'll probably have a great time with it. It's just, there's something about the combination of things with this game that doesn't light me on fire the way, say, with Anticipation, the way Intergrade does, or Ratchet and Clank does, or Final Fantasy Warriors game would, or Breath of the Wild 2 would, something like that. So... I'm not hating on it. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it, but that's just kind of where I'm at with it. So
yeah, I feel you. I'm looking forward to
it. Yeah. So we'll any more news comes up on that, we'll talk about it. We'll probably eventually both play it and do a spoiler cast. Look forward to that. The third big thing that I want to talk about that happened in Japan, there was a Dragon Quest 35th anniversary live stream to celebrate the franchise and also talk about what's next. And they announced quite a few things. There were two announcements of note that I really want to point out that I think are neat. The first thing, they announced Dragon Quest 12. Now, the trailer for it was literally just, it looked like 11, and then they put another slash through, and then it like lit it on fire, and then it exploded, and that was it. So I was like, oh, fire and explosions. But 12, it was announced. Right. It's called The Flames of Fate. And the development team is saying that this game is going to change the traditional turn-based system. Oh. So I'm thinking they might make it an action RPG.
Oh.
And they're saying it's going to be a little bit heavier in theme and more directed at adults.
Oh.
I know. That actually has me like super intrigued. So, not that I need my shit to be all serious and edgelordy, but I love me some edgelords. So is it going to be like Berseria aimed at adults, or is it going to be like Grand Theft Auto aimed at... No, it's going to be Grand Theft Auto. This is mine now. I'm taking this.
Right.
This
What's
is
the
my
slime
horse.
doing? I'm taking the slime to the alleyway.
Oh, dear. Oh, that got dark real quick.
It did.
Slime, watch out. But yeah, no, I think this could be something great, so definitely keep a close eye on that. All of it's in Japanese. They're going to get it way before we do. It's going to be a while, so just put it in a little box, seal it away deep in your heart, unlock it in a few years from now, because it's going to take a while. Now, the other thing they announced, which is really cool, and I hope this becomes a trend, and I hope it's successful, they announced a remake of Dragon Quest III in the 2D HD style of Octopath Traveler and Project Triangle Strategy.
Cool.
And there's a trailer. If you go to Square Enix, but like the Japan side, or maybe if you just Google it, you'll probably find it. It's all in Japanese, of course, but you can see they show the original game's graphics and then the re-release on the DS or whatever, and then they show the new 2D HD like graphical upgrade to the game, and it looks beautiful. I love it. I love it.
Check it out.
Yeah, and I really hope they take a lot of other Square and Enix old RPGs, like the classic ones. Like, I would love Final Fantasy 4, 5, or 6 in the 2D HD style. So I really hope that it does well and people buy it. So yeah, that was great to see, especially for a fan of those classic RPGs like we are.
Yeah.
And now we got a bunch of little tidbits. So I'm going to rattle off the tidbits I have, and then I'll turn it over to you for your tidbits. And again, I don't have a whole lot to say about this, but I think it's of note and that our listeners should be aware of a lot of this, because a lot of it's pretty cool. The Last of Us TV show has a voice actor from the original game that is going to reprise her role in the show. The woman who voiced Marlene! Not that Marlene.
Daddy's coming.
the Firefly Marlene, Merle Dandridge. She's actually going to be in the TV show, which I thought was really cool. In this age of, like, you know, mocap and voice actors looking a lot like their in-game counterparts, hopefully we'll see more of that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like an act. Actually act outside.
Yeah,
of voice
but
acting.
clearly I don't know. If they're doing mocap with their face and stuff, I feel like they can. But yeah, I agree with you.
We'll see.
Also, she's black. Support black actors and
of
actresses.
course.
So yeah, all day. Give them jobs. So the Switch Pro that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks has all but been confirmed by Bloomberg. They kind of compiled all the rumors into like a airtight, solid, this is coming this year article that you can go out and read if you'd like. Basically, an announcement from Nintendo is not only coming, it's likely imminent. I'm talking probably next month. So in June, by the end of June, we should know the Switch Pro is coming this year and what it's going to be called and what's going on with it.
So I should sell my Smash Brothers Switch, is what you're saying.
If you plan on only having one Switch, yes. Yeah, for anybody out there who money's tight, you're not sure you can have two Switches at a time, if you can hold off on playing your Switch for 6 months, sell your shit now while you can still get a decent price for it, because that Pro is coming. News about a feature for the PS5 controller and something you can try out now. The PS5 haptic feedback can actually mirror songs on Spotify. There's a feature for that on the PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like you play the song and like it bumps
it'll
to
vibe to the song.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how often I listen to music while holding my controller. But,
yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, whatever. Maybe smoke a bowl, lay back, hold a controller, and listen to.
Can you play Spotify over games you're playing?
I haven't tried that before. That was an older feature, though, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, I remember being able to do that on like Xbox 360.
Right, but would it then vibe with the song or would it vibe with the game? Because I don't know if it would be able to do both.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
But yeah. PS5 owners, you got Spotify. Try it out. It's a thing. Netflix has been reported by multiple sources as researching a foray into gaming. Now, we know them from, of course, bringing gaming to the small screen, the streaming screen, right? But they're like, no, we actually, Disney Plus is kind of eating our lunch and we lost The Office, so we need to make some money. We're going to try to get into gaming. And if they devote the same amount of buckets of money and effort into gaming as they do streaming, we might have something here. Now, I don't think they're going to make AAA titles. It's probably going to be more arcade stuff like Apple Arcade, maybe some mobile-style games. But if they get some talent and they get some passion in the projects and they start developing, again, they pretty much change. I mean, I think we can single-handedly... HBO kind of did it, but they never really broke through. We can probably single-handedly thank Netflix for the landscape of entertainment as far as movies and TV is concerned right now, right? So... maybe, I mean, you said that consoles are coming to a close pretty soon. Streaming services are getting buffed up. Maybe Netflix comes in and starts eating Games Pass lunch. I don't know.
Maybe.
Something to keep an eye on. So, yeah, they're going for it. We will report as it develops. One thing I wanted to mention last week that I knew about and just forgot, and I feel terrible about it. Yasuke, the first Black Samurai, is confirmed playable in Samurai Warriors 5.
Oh, yeah. Is he going to be voiced by Lakeith Stanfield?
I don't know, but I have seen his design, and it looks cool. Although it looks like he might use tonfas, kind of like Sun Si. I don't know. I'll have to check to see like if he can use any weapon he wants, but it didn't look like he was wielding a traditional Japanese sword, so we'll have to see how that works out. But he'll basically serve as Nobunaga's retainer, I guess. Like a Ronin that, finds a... I guess Nobunaga is one of like the bigger characters in the game, so I don't know how that whole story is going to play out. But yeah, cool.
Okay. Yeah,
be awesome to play as Yasuke in Samurai Warriors. That makes me kind of want to get the game more now.
Right.
There's a big sale that just started on PlayStation Network for those interested, and it's going to go up through June 9th. It's called Days of Play. I saw a list in my email notifications, and it was just like a huge list of discounts, pretty sizable ones too. So if you're looking to get a game that came out in the last couple of years, like Last of Us Part 2 or something like that, and you haven't picked it up yet, maybe slide on over to PlayStation Network, check out the sale, see if there's anything there that tickles your fancy. Maybe you just got a new PlayStation 5. I don't know what your story is, but go check that out. Microsoft has confirmed a date for their Xbox Bethesda showcase. That's going to happen on June 13th. We'll report on it Sunday of that week to let you know what happened and how we felt and what you should be excited about.
I'm sure we'll only see Skyrim for Series X.
That could be one of the things to quote unquote be excited about. Super
special edition.
Or not be excited about. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Also, this is going to be happening more and more, but good thing to keep an eye out, especially if you're looking to either play a game for the first time or go back to it, and you have a next-gen console. Last of Us Part 2 and Watch Dogs Legion both have recently got 60 frames per second performance modes for PS5 and for, in the case of Watch Dogs, also Series X.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you have those games, or if you haven't ever played them or think about getting them, now for your PS5 or your Series X, you can get obviously not Last of Us on Series X, but you can get a 60 frames per second. So that's nice. Awesome. And then finally on my end, we got some release dates that I thought were important to mention. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is announced to be released on December 7th, 2021. Pre-orders are going up now. The special edition is out, and it looks really cool. There's this blacklight statue of you trying to get up to rig the light to get like the night creatures away from you or whatever. And it looks really neat. So for those interested, you can go to, Cheap Ass Gamer. They always post up stuff like that, or go to Amazon to search it and see if that's your cup of tea and you want to get the special edition. I'll definitely be playing Dying Light. It was a great game. Like, I played it earlier this year, the original one. Forgot how much fun it was. Every time I come back to that game, I'm like, oh, this game's actually really good. So I'm looking forward to see what they do. Yeah.
Too chicken.
And the thing is, with Dying Light, they had kind of a troubled development cycle. Like, it was kind of a bit of a journey to get to where they got. So releasing a game under bad conditions that good, I'm excited to see what they release under good conditions. So, yeah, other than that, we have a couple of Pokemon game release dates announced. So Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will be released on November 19th of this year, 2021.
Jeez, seems far.
Well, I don't know, man. May flew by, so we'll see. And Pokemon Legends Arceus will be released January 28th, 2022, which is really cool because that's way early in the year. We knew it was going to be next year, but it was like, bam, first month, let's go.
Hopefully they get that frame rate up.
I'm sure they will. Either way, we're going to see more and more of the game, so we can make a determination on that. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think they will, but let's hope for sure they will. Yeah. All right, man, what you got?
All right, so Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, which is basically a remake/remaster of Virtua Fighter 5, is coming out for the PS4 next month, free with PlayStation Plus.
Woo!
Honestly, I did play Virtua Fighter 5 like around the time when it came out, but Virtua Fighter as a series has not been very impactful to the fighting game community, I think, for many years. So the fact that Sega went ahead and put money behind this and got this game made may have hope of bringing the franchise back. I don't know. Maybe we'll see Virtua Fighter 6 next year or in a couple of years. Who knows?
Well, let's try it out. We'll run a few matches and see who gets whose ass kicked.
Yeah, it's gonna be you. But also,
is it now?
Oh, it's gonna be you.
Did you not see my moves on It Takes Two? I punched and kicked the shit out of that
Oh
squirrel.
my god. Yeah, you did. Kicked his ass.
While
Kicked
you
him
were
in the
crashing the
nuts.
plane.
Another thing, Uncharted 4 is headed to PC. So this is another game in a long line of Sony exclusives that are going to be on PC now. And
Cool.
apparently there are 41 placeholders for PlayStation Studios on Steam at this moment. So PC players can look forward to getting a lot of PlayStation exclusive content on their PCs, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't need to hear from the hardcore Xbox players, oh, now you have no exclusives, it's cool. You can play the game. That's great. That's awesome. I want you to be able to play it. I want to be able to talk with these games with more people, not just people that have PlayStations.
Can we normalize making fun of people for standing for multi-billion-dollar companies?
Yes.
I get that you like your Xbox, or you like your PlayStation, or you like your little baby Nintendo system. That's cool. I'm happy for you. But don't be like, oh, just like hate on the others, or, be a big whiny baby about it. If everybody has more access to these games, the industry grows and we get more games. Calm down.
Right. Yeah.
So, no, I think that's great. That's awesome. I think it's really great for people who don't have a PlayStation, who may be interested in some of the games, Yeah. And I always love to see the videos online of people modding the shit out of games that come to PC. Like a modded Spider-Man would be fun. So,
right.
We'll see how it goes.
A couple more things. Apparently, there's a new Time Splitters game in development from the original creative team. Deep Silver announced that they're going forward with the new Time Splitters game. Mm-hmm. And the new studio developing it will be called Free Radical Design, and it will have members of the original team. So if you're a Time Splitters fan, I think the last game that came out was Time Splitters Future Perfect on the GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. Look forward to it. I personally never got into it. I don't know if you played them at all.
Not really, but I know there's a following for it. So the fact that the original team is working on it, that's great news. I'm happy for fans of the game, for sure.
Yeah, I would kind of equate this to like a new Half-Life game coming out. You know what I mean? Yeah, obviously not as big.
Not that big, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm going to probably try it out, because it'd be a good entry point for me to get into the series. So,
yeah. And the last thing I saw just popped up on my feed. Apparently, there's a Guardians of the Galaxy game in development at Square Enix.
Really?
Yeah.
Makes sense because they did Marvel's Avengers. Are they going to Marvel's Avengers
did
it
they
up,
do
though?
Marvel's Avengers, or did they fuck up Marvel's Avengers?
I mean, they did it like the way you were describing the slime earlier in the podcast. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have any hope for this. Hopefully Square can prove me wrong. I don't know what happened with Square Enix to where they just started publishing bad games. What happened?
I don't know.
Like
they're still putting out quality content when it comes to a lot of their games. I would argue 2D HDing it up is great. I would argue Final Fantasy has always been strong. I would argue they've done a really good job with Tomb Raider and other franchises, Hitman. So maybe they learned their lesson from Marvel's Avengers. Yeah, maybe they learned their lesson and they're like, whoops, let's not do that again. Let's make an actual game and then worry about
pay for all these costumes in a superhero game.
Yeah, let's worry about making money off of it later as far as cosmetic. I don't want to do microtransactions at all. And I don't even want to give them an inch by saying that cosmetic microtransactions are something better than the alternative, because I don't like slippery slope arguments, because they're like, oh, where's it going to end? It ends where it ends. Okay. Right. It ends where we say it ends. But as far as that's concerned, it ends where I say it should end at no microtransactions. Right. Include the shit in the game. If you want to add something substantial, then develop it as DLC and sell it separately. Fine, but do not carve it out of the base game. Stop doing that shit, people.
Yeah, I'm playing a superhero game. Why am I paying for costumes?
For an example,
that's one of the main things. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You can unlock all those costumes in the game, in-game. You don't have to pay for a single one, unless it's like a pre-order bonus or something.
Exactly. I mean, you take an example like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. They didn't do such a great job specifically with the costumes, so it's not the greatest example, but for its credit, that felt like a full, complete game when it came out. From start to finish, it was a video game. It had all the stuff that you needed, you played it, it worked, right? And then they added 3 DLC packs, First they gave you 2 free characters, so it was like a free update. Then
Right.
you got your season pass, which gets you 3 separate DLC packs with more characters, more costumes for everybody, and more game modes. I'm cool with that. That's DLC done right.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Age of Calamity, that came out last November. They just announced the season pass. It's obvious they didn't carve any content out of that game. They just want to add to it. The original Hyrule Warriors did the same thing. You know, there are ways to develop a full and complete game and then revisit it if it's successful and put more shit on it. Don't immediately upon conception, how can we divide this up and milk money out of people? Stop doing that. And gamers, stop letting them do that. Put your wallet away. Come on, man.
Yeah. Sit on it. Well, never mind.
Sit on that wallet and spin around in your chair. Okay, rant over. Old man rant over. I met a Zoomer one time who spent like $600 on a mobile game that they liked, and my old man brain exploded. I was like, you could have bought so many different games. I mean, it seemed like he liked the game and he was having fun, and that's great. But it's just like that $600 could have bought you a bunch of different large full-scale games and even games you could play on your phone rather than just nickel and diming yourself to death on the same game. How is that? You know, but again, I couldn't yuck his yum. He liked it, so I was like, oh, cool, good for you, man, but I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, me either.
Maybe I'm just too old. I don't know.
Yeah, we're dinosaurs.
We're dinosaurs out here.
Dinosaurs.
Oh, that's where we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this journey. Speaking of journeys, It's been a week, man. It's been a whole entire week. And so, once again, I have to know, what you feeling this week, Derrick?
So, you know I got my PS5. So, naturally, I had to upgrade the TV.
Upgrade.
So, I had a 58-inch Vizio, 4K Vizio from like 2016.
Okay.
It developed a blue hue to it that my eyes adjusted to, everybody's eyes in the house adjusted to. But every time someone would come over, they'd be like, "Why the fuck is your TV blue?"
It's so blue.
So the fact that I've had like people over watching stuff on this TV, like whole ass movies and shit, but there's been a blue hue that my eyes can't recognize. It's crazy to me.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I upgraded to a Sony Bravia 65-inch X90J, 4K, HDR, 120 hertz, and some other fancy shit that they make up to put on the TV.
Oh.
This TV has completely changed my enjoyment of video games.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. The fact that I was even playing video games, I finished Miles Morales on the old TV. I put it on the new one, I was like, this is a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the HDR, I've never seen HDR outside of Best Buy or Walmart or whatever, because you can't really tell how a TV's going to look until you get it into your home.
Yeah, that hertz thing makes a difference, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so I keep like frantically switching back from HDR and non-HDR and seeing what the difference is. And basically, if you don't know what HDR is, basically the colors pop more and the blacks are blacker and the blacks are blacker and the whites are whiter, you know.
Yeah.
So America. And
it's the exaggerated swagger of a black TV
right.
on your TV.
Yeah, but it's amazing, man. I can't. It's just so good.
Great.
I have not much else to say. It's very good.
I'm happy for you and your giant TV, and that your friends will no longer be murdered with blue when they come over to watch stuff. So it's great.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, this week I am feeling something that I kind of alluded to earlier in the episode. So I mentioned that I was kind of bummed out about Demon Chaos only being European and Japanese, and I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to try and emulate PS2. You know, I built a Raspberry Pi, hacked the PlayStation Classic, hacked the SNES Classic. I got this Anbernic, and I'm working on reprogramming it. I can do this, right? Sure.
Right.
So I did some research, and I found that one of the best PS2 emulators around right now is a program called PCS X2. Now, it does not come with PlayStation BIOS. It says on the thing, you need to download the BIOS from your actual PlayStation 2. It's illegal for us to give that to you. We're not going to give it to you. And I get where they're coming from. The BIOS is basically like the region. Like it tells you it's the PlayStation software, like the hardware program that plays the games. And what I would have to do is I'd have to hack my PlayStation 2 to allow outside firmware on it to download the BIOS, and then I'd have to bring the BIOS over to computer and then download it onto my emulation program. That's a lot. So I just looked and found a BIOS package online, and I downloaded that. Like I have a PS2. I got 2 of them actually, so not illegal.
Oh, big
Get away from me. Yeah, I got a big boy, and I got like one of those silver ones, the Slims. So yeah, I took care of that. And then I was trying to download some ROMs of games that you can't buy directly from Sony, like rare games, like Demon Chaos, for example. Sony just doesn't sell that anywhere. No digital store has it. And it was just downloading like super slow, which is really weird. But then I remembered that when I was hacking the PlayStation Classic, I downloaded all the ROMs through my Android phone. And it works really well. So I went through my Android phone, and sure enough, the download went like that. And it's not like I have a bad computer or anything, but there's something about accessing the website, the ROM site, through a computer versus through a mobile phone. I don't know if it purposely slows down downloads depending on where it's coming from to control traffic so it won't get busted, or how that works. Because ROM file sharing is a little bit gray when it comes to legality, especially when it comes to Nintendo games. They come after you, so I get it.
Oh, yeah.
But I downloaded Demon Chaos. I also downloaded Blood Will Tell, Ghost Hunter, Gregory Horror Show, Kuon, Michigan Report from Hell, Obscure. So mostly horror games.
Right.
So Friday Night Frights is about to be lit. Like after I get done with Resident Evil Village, I'm going to be playing all these obscure ass games. It's going to be so awesome.
It's lit.
Most of the games run well. I haven't been able to test all of them. I had an issue with Demon Chaos though. Demon Chaos has really bad bloom and ghosting. So with bloom, the colors are kind of washed out and dreamlike. In the ghosting, you kind of see like doubles of the artifacts. And on the actual site where you can download the PCS X2, they do have a support area. It teaches you the settings and how to tweak things. And like if you get ghosting and bloom, try this. I did all the tweaks and nothing really worked. And then you can actually enter in specific games to see if any of their testers had worked on them. And there's a page dedicated to Demon Chaos. And they're like, yeah, there's some ghosting and bloom. Tried this. And I was like, oh, good. What's the fix? And they're like, nothing worked. Current fix unknown. And I was like, damn it.
Bloop, bloop, bleep, bloop, bloop.
Blurp, blurp, blurp. That's how we hackers and testers talk to each other. Bloop, blurp, blurp. So I'm going to play Demon Chaos on Monday Night Brawlers for sure, because it is really nuts, and it does feel kind of like a Muso game on steroids, but it's not going to look super clean. It's going to be kind of ghosty and bloomy. Little ghosty blooms. Little ghosty blooms. But again, shout out to Smokeratees on Twitch.
Name of the episode, Ghosty Blooms.
Ghosty Blooms. That's a good one. But yeah, shout out to Smokeratees on Twitch. Appreciate you for just mentioning it, recommending it, and kind of get me into gear, because I'm loving this emulator. It works really well, and it's opening up a whole new world of rare PS2 games I normally wouldn't have access to. So, don't you dare close your game. Keep playing, it gets better. So, speaking of, it gets better.
RPGs, man.
Oh, I know. I'm telling you. But yeah, look forward to hanging out with us next week, because next week and in the coming weeks, the news is just going to come in like a flood hose. It's going to be insane. I can't wait. I'm here for it. And now we both got PS5s, so we'll be on those PS5 exclusives and those next gens.
A lot of day one purchases.
Yep. So before we get into close, we'll go ahead and get a word from today's sponsor, Anchor. And after that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. So stick around if you want to know where to follow us on the socials. All right. That is our show. Derrick, if the people out there are trying to find some gamer goodies, possibly more, if they want to get a hold of you, where can they locate you at?
They can check out the eBay store at ebay.com/str/gamergoodies and more. They can follow me on Instagram at gamergoodiesmore, and I'm also on Twitter at goodies_more.
And of course, we upload episodes every single Sunday. So if you're looking for the podcast, you can find us at our main hub at anchor.fm/player2 is entered the pod. We're also located wherever you prefer to listen to your podcast. That includes Breaker, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocketcast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And we have a Facebook and YouTube page. So you can find us at facebook.com/player2 has entered the pod. You can also find us on the YouTube channel Player2 has entered the podcast. If you want to find me personally, I'm on Twitter at Mike Peterson AL, and I do Twitch streaming Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Got the schedule up at twitch.tv/mcpaperstacks. I mainly do brawlers, beat 'em ups, horror games, and try to do something current. Right now that's Returnal, so come check me out for that. And if you want to check any past episodes, you can go to YouTube, check out the channel MC Paperstacks Plays. If you want to get a hold of us directly, aside from commenting on Facebook or YouTube, you can also email us directly at mcpaperstacks@gmail.com. And that is our show. I want to thank everybody for listening. We love you, we appreciate you, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.